Hello, I'm Captain Jack and welcome to the Hangar Bay. On this channel, we take a deep dive into the best starships, technology and more from your favourite sci-fi universes. Today, we're talking about perhaps one of the best starfighters in science fiction and certainly one of the best from Battlestar Galactica. The Viper Mark II Space Superiority-fighter might have been outdated by the time of the Reimagined Series taking place, but the craft proved it was still as effective, if not better than modern designs, when the fall of the 12 Colonies took place. So let's dive into the details of this craft. Remember, for the latest videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Oh, and while you're watching, tell us in the comments what your fighter call sign would be. I'll tell you mine at the end of this video. If you enjoy these Battlestar Galactica videos and want to support the Hangar Bay channel, you can join our Discord server via the link below. If you click the join button, you can also become a member and get these videos early and play a part in building our next video. Let us know what you think of this ship in the comments below. The Viper Mark II design was classed as a space superiority fighter and came in at a length of 8.42 meters, with a width of 4.72 meters and a height of 2.72 meters. The fighter craft only had the capacity for one pilot on board, keeping it small and nimble. The frame of the Mark II is long and sleek. The fore section of the fighter craft comprises of the nose, back to the cockpit. In the forward section, you can find the forward RCS systems for maneuvering the Viper. The forward landing gear, main avionics, and sensor packages are also located here. Towards the midsection is the location of a single-seat cockpit. Finally, at the stern is where the main engines, along with numerous RCS maneuvering jets, fuel tanks, wings, and vertical stabilizers are located. The Viper's wings are where the kinetic energy weapons, along with munitions storage and feeds, are located. There is also mount points located beneath their wings for missiles, munition pods, and other items to be rack mounted. We'll talk specifics about the Viper's armaments in a moment. If we look at the wing's roots, these contain the main landing gear, which is retracted during flight operations. One of the distinctive features of the Mark II's shape is the offset intakes, which are mounted behind the cockpit. The port and starboard intakes incorporate small but powerful reverse thrust engines. These allow the Viper to quickly counter its forward momentum in an emergency. The armament of the Viper Mark II fighter features a primary weapon of two 800 rounds Fraxon Mkii A6 30mm mass accelerator cannons, abbreviated as MECS. Both of these cannons are capable of firing 20 rounds per second and are augmented with orange tracers. These tracers allow Viper pilots to see where the rounds are going and adjust their aim accordingly. The Viper Mark II's armaments can be supplemented with a storage bay for special missions. This can hold up to 8 Lightning Javelin missiles, capable of carrying conventional warheads to up to 50 megatons of nuclear-tipped warheads. Again, this is dependent on the required loadout for specific missions. Propulsion-wise, the Viper Mark II is noted as being nimble as a jackrabbit. The fighter is also capable of rotating 180 degrees vertically in 0.35 seconds. The propulsion system also allows the Mark II to accelerate at 6 to 7 Gs, or 60 to 70 meters a second. These speeds and maneuvers are capable thanks to the central propulsion systems installed. This features one Voron VM2-D15 upper turbothrust engine, and two Voron VM3-22 turbothrust engines. As mentioned earlier, two reverse thrust motors have been installed. Multiple RCS thrusters are positioned on board Viper. While designed as a space superiority fighter, the Viper Mark II can operate in the planet's atmosphere. A Viper Mark II is also equipped with a Missile Delta G Intrepid guidance system. To enhance the performance of the fighter craft, the quad-mounted gyroscopic ACRS is hot linked to the cockpit instrumental package and all RCS ports. Given the design of the Mark II and its intended use in the Cylon War, it was designed to be incapable of being hacked by the Cylons. The number of analog gauges and controls further shows this. It perhaps suggests the Mark II Vipers was intended to be flown entirely without computer assistance, due to fear of compromise by an electronic attack. Still, a simple onboard computer is present in the cockpit of the Mark II. Specific display gauges like the altimeter are only used in atmospheric flight. A colonial Battlestar would deploy Mark II Vipers, like all Viper fighters, via magnetic launch tubes. These were laid into the hull of a Battlestar or smaller warships. It allowed fighters like the Mark II to be scrambled extremely quickly in case the Battlestar or another ship would come under attack. That said, the Viper Mark II could take off in standard situations from landing pads or hangar bays. In case of emergencies or critical damage to the fighter, the Mark II is fitted with an ejection system for the pilot. If an ejection takes place in atmosphere, then a parachute for the pilot is deployed at a safe altitude. Initially, the colonial fleet made use of the Viper Mark I fighter. This was a space superiority fighter design that would lead to the Mark II. Mark I was used extensively against Cylon forces during the First Cylon War, As it proved to be both successful and reliable, the Viper Mark I design would inspire a new generation of improved Vipers. As the first Cylon War raged, the Mark I Viper was phased out in favour of the Viper Mark IIs and Viper Mark IIIs. During the first Cylon War, the Viper Mark II earned respect for its performance in several major engagements, including the Ghost Fleet Offensive and Operation Raptor Talon. Around the 10th year of the first Cylon War, elements of the Colonial Fleet began testing the Mark III Viper. The newer fighter craft design was in deployment on some battlestars and support ships within the fleet. However, the Mark II would ultimately win the day around 40 years after the first Cylon War ended. While the Battlestar Galactica was being decommissioned, a squadron of surviving Mark II Viper fighters was found and chosen for preservation and display on board the starboard flight deck of Galactica. With the outbreak of the Cylon attacks and the start of the fall of the 12 Colonies, the Battlestar Galactica was rushed back into operational service. Due to the aging Battlestar already sending off her combat air patrol of Mark VII Vipers, which were destroyed due to being hacked by the CMP virus, the Mark II Vipers were chosen to defend the ship, as the remaining Mark VIIs were likely vulnerable to the CMP virus. The Mark II Vipers eventually defended the Battlestar when the Cylon forces attacked it. They further defended Galactica and the escaping civilian fleet during a battle of Ragnar Anchorage. Eventually, the Mark II Vipers would make up the majority of Galactica's air wing, defending the 50,000 survivors of the Cylon attacks. Galactica's Mark II Viper fighters continued to serve with distinction throughout the prolonged conflict with the Cylon forces, eventually culminating in the Battle of the Colony. Admiral Adama would leave the Battlestar Galactica for the final time aboard his Viper Mark II. The Viper Mark II first appeared in the miniseries of the Battlestar Galactica Reimagined Series. Designing the Viper Mark II for the new series was a challenging project. The design would undergo numerous iterations to eventually become the fighter we know. Both Eric Chu and Chris Bell produced concept artwork for the design. You can see some examples of this on screen now. Due to the limited budget and small timescale to produce the miniseries, production designer Richard Hudlin didn't have the manpower for the growing list of design work required. As such, he passed the design of the Battlestar ships to Gary Hutzel and the visual effects team. Most of the ship's exteriors would not be built in sound stages, so they would be done exclusively inside computers. Hutzel's department was not staffed for all the incoming projects. Hutzel tasked concept artists to plan the overall look of the ships. Before plans were drawn up or anything was digitally rendered, simple sketches were made to be used to show what the teams could do. While sounding simple, this process was a key step in getting designs signed off by both the network and the producers of Battlestar Galactica. Eric Chu had worked with Gary Hutzel previously. In an interview with Hero Collector magazine, Chu previously mentioned how the network didn't want the reboot of Battlestar to look anything like the original 1970s show. It's something we have heard many times now. While this rule was in place, the network actually made an exception for the Viper design. They wanted this one element to carry over from the original 70s designs that were developed by Ralph McQuarrie. Chu mentioned that minor tweaks to the design were done. The Viper Mark II would be one of a few ship sets constructed for actors to perform with. Chris Bell joined to complete this task. Chris had previously worked in animation and had come on board to assist Chu with drawings of the Viper Mark II. The Mark II was intentionally made old school in the design to represent its setting in the Battlestar Galactica reboot. Executive producer Ronald D. Moore recalls how he fought successfully for the Vipers to return in the modern Battlestar. He and many others wanted to see them fly again. Moore also shared how he thought of the Vipers as F-4U Corsairs, but also F-18s at the same time. As always, a big thank you to the Battlestar.Wiki team for the information used in this video. Visit their wiki via the link in the video description for in-depth Battlestar Galactica information. So that's our breakdown and analysis of the Viper Mark II fighter in Battlestar Galactica. Did you also answer our question from the start of this video? If you missed it, comment your Viper call sign in the comments. I think mine would either be Zeus or Striker, something lightning related. Of course, if you want to continue our Battlestar Galactica adventures, check out the playlist on the end screen, which features breakdowns of the Jupiter class, Mercury class, and even the Valkyrie class. That's the end of this video. I've been Captain Jack in the Hangar Bay. Remember, if you're talking about science fiction, hit that subscribe button, and of course, we want to hear about it.